All right, we're going to talk about it. The rumors are circulating. Is UMG attempting to settle with Drake amidst their defamation lawsuit? I'm going to bring up the paperwork. We're going to read through it. After we get through all the paperwork and we get to the final answer of breaking this down and seeing what the update is in this big industry lawsuit and this big hip hop shakeup, we're going to talk about the effects if UMG actually does settle with Drake, the effects that would have on hip hop. I want to break that down. After that, we got some other discussions that we're going to get into. I want to talk about the bad news situation. He did a recent interview. I'm not going to focus on all the prior allegations and whatnot. We already addressed that prior. I'm not huge on that topic, to be honest, but I do want to get into something that he spoke about in his recent interview in regards to his upcoming battle with A Ward. Okay, and A Ward addressed that. I want to get into the weeds a little bit more of that. After that, we got a couple small topics to bring up as well. Shout out to checks and balances, man. A couple small things that we're going to cover as far as news updates as well. Yeah, so before we get into this paperwork, I want to say briefly real quick as well. Y'all make sure y'all check out last night's interview. I had the homie Daylyt up here. We discussed things like his past trolling, his upcoming battle this Saturday, and what he intends to do. Like, this is almost like one of these savior type of hip hop moments for the state of battle rap that he wants to put on this weekend. It's a 2-day event, Saturday and Sunday. What else did we talk about? We talked about if California and LA is leading hip hop as far as saving lyricism. We talked about that. We got into a couple things. We talked about the industry a little bit. Diddy came up during our conversation. You know, his old trolling of Diddy. We spoke about some of his past battles and classic moments. We even talked about his battle with Joey Badass. That link to our interview is below in the description of this live right here. So check out that interview. Other than that, yeah, let's get into this. All right. This is where some of the rumors started. And once again, shout out to Checks and Balances for putting me on to this. Let's take a look.
Universal has potentially offered Drake $250 million to drop his lawsuit. The craziest part of this whole thing is Kanye told the truth on why Drake will win if it goes to court in his interview with DJ Academics. Kanye was explaining how this invisible hand was forcing artists to speak out against him. In particular, Daylyt, where if he didn't speak out, they would cancel his tour and cut his artists.
And this is coercion. That's why going to be locked up someday. They said, Ty, you have to denounce Ye publicly or we're going to drop your artist, Leon. We're going to cancel all your tours.
Where a judge has ruled in favor of Drake, denying UMG's motion to prevent his team from investigating executives' internal communication. What that means is his team can now look at all emails, documents, and UMG's promotional activities surrounding the Grammys and Super Bowl, which has now caused this rumor of a $250 million settlement if Drake drops his lawsuit. According to a very connected source close to Drake, UMG doesn't want this fight to go public. The insider claims the label is pushing hard to settle things before the lawsuit gains traction in court. While at the same time, Spotify's removing bot streams for the third month in a row from big artists, but obviously isn't going to drop any names. Where Kendrick went from 110 million monthly streams all the way down to 98 million, and Drake's didn't change. So Spotify removing all these bots could be their move to get out in front of what's to come with the Drake and Universal lawsuit as it continues. It's wild this whole thing started with Universal not wanting to pay Drake, and now they're going to have to pay him even more money. Universal has potentially offered Drake $250.
Interesting. I'm going to read this caption too. I don't know why. Something in my mind popped out when he said, the Kanye piece about coercion, right? He said it, if Daylyt doesn't do this, we're going to do that. For some reason, the example popped in my mind of Danny Myers. When Danny Myers came out and did a public interview stating that, there were certain people that said they were going to take certain things away from him unless he did something in regards to Easy to Block Captain's previous event on the trenches. That just popped in my mind as I was listening to that. It's just like I'm getting deeper and deeper into studying law, and that coercion word is very powerful and very dangerous based on people's actions. But okay, let's take a look at this caption. The caption says Drake might get $250 million from Universal, and Kanye called it first. Drake's lawsuit against Universal Music Group just took a wild turn. A judge ruled in Drake's favor, allowing his team to investigate UMG's internal emails and Grammy Super Bowl dealings, especially around the success of Not Like Us. Now rumors say UMG is offering $250 million to make it all go away. The craziest part, Kanye West might have predicted this in his academics interview when he exposed the industry's invisible hand. Spotify quietly removing bots, Kendrick's numbers dropping, and Drake staying the same. It's all connected. This might be the biggest music industry shakeup of the decade. Interesting caption, interesting video, interesting breakdown, right? So there are people behind the scenes that talk about stuff like this. You're going to always have leaks. We even seen that as it relates to the Drake and UMG stuff. You'll see it on Rolling Stones or maybe Hip Hop DX. Some of these publications and these media outlets will get updates directly from the source, right? They use the media platforms to get out certain narratives and certain updates and certain things that they really can't say directly to the public themselves, or shouldn't say directly to the public themselves. So for that, when I see rumors like this, I do pay attention. I'm not trying to say that when we hear rumors, we jump out the window and say, oh, 250 million is on his way to Drake. Right. And we haven't even gotten to the paperwork yet. Give me a second. But still, we're not going to be naive. There could be some truth to it. It could be somebody just adding up. Oh, wait, this happened at Spotify and this happened in court yesterday. And I think that Drake's numbers are staying the same. And here goes a theory. That can happen as well. And this is the point of us doing our homework, applying some logic, and being open-minded. So let's move to the actual paperwork now. This was the last update to the case, and this is where some of this might have been coming from. I'm going to guess, but you see the date on this, 4/9/25. This is yesterday, okay, people? The United States District Court, Southern District of New York, Aubrey Drake Graham versus UMG Recordings, okay? Civil case management plan and scheduling order, okay? Scheduling order. All right, that's not to be ignored. All right, so Ms. Vargas here, I believe that she is the judge on this case. Yes. Okay, this civil case management plan and scheduling order is submitted by the parties in accordance with Fed yada 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 number. All parties consent, do not consent, or consent. Which one is being checked? Do not consent is checked off here. To conducting all further proceedings before United States magistrate judge, including motions and trial. Okay, the parties are free to withhold consent without any adverse substantive. I'm fucking screwing up with some of these early morning words once again. Consequences. If all parties consent, the remaining paragraphs need to not be completed at this time. Instead, within 3 days of submitting this case management plan and scheduling order, the parties shall submit to the court a fully executed notice, consent, and reference of a civil action to the magistrate judge. Okay, cool. Number 2, the parties, pay attention to what boxes are checked. The parties have conferred. Okay, as they should be. Your lawyer, my lawyer, behind the scenes, we exchange emails, we have phone calls, we perform updates. Same thing in cases that I've seen in the past, same thing in my own case. This is what happens. You know what I'm saying? I'm over here minding my business. The plaintiffs are over there minding our business, but our lawyers keep communication. They organize things. They try to play nice together. Okay. Settlement discussion have not taken place. Now, I think that being a part of this paperwork is where these rumors come from. Okay. I think that that's just a formality that is a part of this form, period. Okay. It's just a piece of the update. Have any settlement discussions happened? And I wouldn't be surprised if this type of spot check happens later on in the case too, right? Because there's no need to go into certain angles or certain lanes or certain process if there's settlement discussions happening. Once settlement discussions happen, whether they hold, whether the settlements actually get signed and sealed and agreed upon, once you get there, other stuff is put on pause. So if that's what I need you guys to tell me. You guys are conferring. We read that already. Both sides, they're conferring. They're talking with each other. Have there been any settlement discussions? No. Okay, cool. Then we're proceeding. Every step, there's different checks and balances that's happening. Oh, I threw that in there. There's different checks and balances that happen. So I think that line right there is what created this rumor. But I love when we get the opportunities to simply stick to the black and white. Okay, counsel for the parties have discussed an informal exchange of information in aid of early settlement and have agreed to exchange the following information within days/weeks. That's an aid, not available, none available, which basically coincides with number two. I'm sorry, with number three's checkbox of have not taken place. Okay. So once again, settlement even being written in this formal document or form in this update is, I think people are running with that and just running with these conspiracies and going going over to the Kendrick interview and shit. And that's cool. People could exercise their mind and their thoughts, but the black and white proves something different. Counsel for the parties believe the following alternative dispute resolution mechanisms may be helpful in resolving this case. Check all that apply. None of these boxes are checked as far as resolving this case. Okay, none are checked. So there is no resolution determined at this point. You want to know the only thing that's going to continue to bring about resolution? Us continuing with the case, which means that still the biggest update is the judge ruling in Drake's favor for discovery. All right. So we're going to go into that now. And that's why I made you guys really pay attention to the title up here. Case management plan and scheduling order. Okay. Scheduling order. Let's continue. The use of any alternative dispute resolution mechanism does not stay or modify any date in this order. Okay. So right now the judge is saying this is the road that we on. These are the dates that we set in. You know what I'm saying? If there's any other dispute that comes up right now, another claim that comes in, more arguing and more disagreements, this schedule stands. And if you want to ask me, you want to know what that actually ties to? That's another little small win for Drake, saying that, for example, UMG tried to stay discovery as they awaited the dismissal date to come around. As far as that conversation, can we even get this dismissed? They set a date for that. Now the rest of the schedule that's being laid out, judge is saying the schedule that's here, don't get to a point where you guys argue over do we also get Punch's contract, right? You guys maybe you're gonna ask for Kendrick shit, but can we agree that Kendrick's contract is now attorney's eyes only marked, which means Drake doesn't get to see it, but his attorneys do, right? Like when you guys get to those type of disputes, that does not change the schedule that we're laying forth right now. Okay. Unless a party amends a pleading as a matter of course pursuant to Fed and then the code, et cetera, amended pleadings may not be filed and additional parties may not be joined except with leave of the court. Any motion for leave to amend or join additional parties shall be filed no later than May 2nd, 2025. Now, I'm not going to act like an expert in that statement right there. I'm far from a lawyer. But the way I interpret that is, if either one of y'all are going to bring other people into this, like claims, or like if all of a sudden you want to then say I'm suing or I'm adding Spotify, I guess it needs to be done by May 2nd, 2025. Let's read that one more time. Unless a party amends. But isn't that what happens when you amend? No. So let me think of an example of when something got amended. You had the case that went in about Diddy. The girl that said that she was ARD, right? Tony Busby and team then began to contact Jay-Z and say, hey, we want to have a conversation with you about resolution. They see that coming. They're like, all right, let's try to get some money out of me. I'm filing a case on you that this is extortion, right? So then they went back and amended the case that was already open and added Jay-Z's name. Right before Jay-Z's, what he was there as like a placeholder, but his name wasn't there. Okay, so I mean that's the example that I could think of. So unless a party amends a pleading as a matter of course pursuant to Fed and then code, et cetera, amended pleadings may not be filed and additional parties may not be joined except with leave of the court. Any motion for leave to amend or join additional parties shall be filed no later than May 2nd, 2025. So I have, once again, no way to interpret that other than by the time we get to May 2nd, 2025, the case is the case, unless we're going to go through code, yada, 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 to get these type of amendments or changes in. Okay, so this will probably stay just this pure, clear-cut defamation. Whatever. Okay, everybody strap into what it is then. Fact discovery. All fact discovery shall be completed no later than February 13th, 2026. Okay, it's almost a year from now. Fact discovery. Now, I think there's different type of discoveries that are laid out here. I'm not going to try to get into the weeds and separate what forms are different, but discovery period. There's a basis of discovery that needs to be completed by then. Initial disclosures pursuant to code, whatever that is, shall be completed no later than March 24th, 2024. Okay, so that's already passed. Initial disclosures. Okay, no big deal there. The plaintiff shall provide HIPAA compliant medical records, release authorizations, and defendants no later than, that's N8. Yeah, this isn't so HIPAA and all that, that compliant type of stuff that things have, like your medical records, your your blood results and all that. There's all different types of legalities and sensitivity around that type of documentation, because people can't just walk into a doctor's office and get my shit, make a phone call and get my shit. Sometimes even if you have somebody assigned as your emergency contact or whatever, like you can't just call and be like, hey, let me get his blood work, like you know what I'm saying? But none of that is involved in this. We talk about money here. This it's not like, something happened, a car accident or something like that, and they may need some medical records. So that's why that's N8. Okay, cool. And you want to know why I'm glad that we still read through that, even though it's not applicable and it's N8? Because that, to me, it would be similar to what we read above when we said the settlement piece right here. Number 3, settlement discussions have or have not taken place. So there are things in this form that are not applicable. So the form, to me, then, is just a general standard template form that's presented and filled out accordingly. That's it. But the word settlement happens to be in this template document. People went crazy with it. Yeah, we just have our second piece of proof there. All right. So yeah, we don't need any medical records. All right. I hope there's no reason for anybody wants some medical records. Oh man. All right. Any proposed order or stipulation regarding electronically stored information shall be filed within 30 days of the date of this October. Oh, look at that. October's own. Okay. Initial requests for production of documents pursuant to code yada 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 shall be served no later than May 2nd, 2025. All right. More pursuant stuff for May 2nd, 2025. Requests to admit more pursuant stuff. Depositions. Okay, I'm curious about this. Depositions pursuant to code yada yada yada, and 31 shall be completed by the date set forth in paragraphs 5A. Where's 5A? 5A is here. Okay. February 13th, 2026. Okay. So depositions even has a little bit over a year. Like, what's this, 10 months? February 2026 to be completed. Depositions, once again, are like interviews with the opposing counsel. Drake will sit down with UMG's lawyers and be deposed, be interviewed, be asked questions that are officially on the record, and vice versa, right? Both sides. The lawyers and the legal team from both sides can just request people to interview and depose. You go through a process of, making those people available, setting a date, setting a time. The last deposition that I was in, for example, lasted about 5 to 6 hours, something like that. I think it went very, 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 very well. But yeah, that's depositions. It's part of the process. You know what I'm saying? It's I believe an under oath situation as well. So because it's all officially documented and recorded and all that type of stuff, I think there's even a stenographer that's involved in depositions, I believe. Yeah, it's official. So what you say can and will be used against you in further proceedings and possibly even the trial that come out of your depositions. Okay. So Any of the deadlines in paragraphs 5B through H may be extended by written consent of all parties without application to the court. Interesting. So they're given the power. This scenario gives power to both people to even agree on date changes. Hey, the lawyers is up here trying to play nice and get this shit done. Let's walk away and figure this out, whatever. It's the parties down here that really give a fuck how this shit goes. UMG and Drake. Well, more so, I shouldn't say that really cares, but more so than these guys up here in this scenario, I believe. Does Brian Steele really care what happens with Young Thug? Absolutely. He's willing to go sit in the jail behind him, right? This scenario right here, I don't know. I just don't see the situation and see the lawyers having this need to make this personal. So if they agree, like, hey, man, let's both agree. Let's push this out to July instead of May. They have that power without the court. So, okay, that's cool. The parties should not anticipate extensions of the deadline for fact discovery, which was sent out all the way to February 2026. Relatedly, the parties should not make unilateral decision to stay or halt discovery on the basis of settlement negotiations or otherwise in anticipation of an extension. There goes the word settlement again. It's here as a formality, I believe. If something unforeseen arises, a party may seek a limited extension of the foregoing deadlines by letter motion filed on ECF, whatever that is. Any such motion must be filed before the relevant deadline and must explain why. Despite the party's due diligence, discovery could not be completed by the relevant deadline. So to me, that's just separating. You know what I'm saying? Whether settlement conversations come up or changes over here or changes over there, once again, the discovery is not to be disrupted, right? Unless the court disrupts it. That's fine. We already went through this whole process over discovery. Decisions were made. Let's move forward. Gotcha. All right. Expert discovery. The parties checkbox do anticipate requiring expert discovery. Oh, man, I almost forgot what expert discovery. All right, that one I will Google for you guys real quick. I heard that one before. What is expert discovery? Before I hit enter, I'm going to take a guess. I could be wrong. I think I remember expert discovery being like, let's say an expert comes in to do calculations. So UMG could put on the table, hey, man, I only got a bonus of $5. Drake could say, I think it's a $5 billion. An expert comes in and reviews that stuff, and then he presents his numbers. Doesn't say that those numbers is what stands, but he comes in kind of like a gang expert comes in and says, no, that B meant blood, that C meant crip. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's my guess. Keep this fun. Challenge myself as well. Why not? Expert discovery is the process of obtaining information about expert witnesses, including their qualifications, opinions, and the basis of those opinions. That's applicable to what I just said. I got to find my little wins. Through discovery methods like interrogations, depositions, and requests for production. Here's more detailed explanation of that, what it is. In a civil lawsuit, parties use discovery to gather information to support their case. Yep. And understand that other side's position. Okay. Yep. Expert discovery specifically focuses on the information related to expert witnesses who are individuals with specialized knowledge and skill who can provide opinions and testimony in court. I think I nailed that. I think I did. I think I got that. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting better. I'm learning brick by brick, day by day. All right. All expert discoveries shall be completed no later than May 29th, 2026. So if they're saying most of the discovery is done by, if not all, by February 2026, then any resolution or any interpretation or the experts, putting their eyes and ears on it needs to be completed by mid or summer 2026. We might be here for a while, people. And this also bodes to when we discussed previously saying like how crazy sometimes discovery is, which then even further shows why UMG wasn't just on no bullshit when they were saying, hey, man, we don't want to go through all this discovery stuff if we might get this shit thrown out for dismissal. because discovery can be intense. It's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of things that we got to go over. It's a lot of back and forth. There's going to be agreements, disagreements. I don't want to give you this. I want this to be attorney's eyes only. I don't think that this is applicable. Okay, you can have this. Oh, I think that you gave me this, but you only gave me half of it. Where's the rest of it? What about these emails? I don't got these. All of that shit. It's a lot of money is going to be spent on both of these sides, UMG and Drake's side, just in this discovery process. Their lawyers at this level have something called retainer fee, okay, a retainer price. They're probably working on an hourly rate, period. And they might spend months just going through discovery stuff. And you see that here with the court saying discovery done by February 2026 next year, and experts being done with the review of the discovery May. That's over a year from now. Over a year from now. Discovery in a situation like this is absolutely intense, which is why UMG said, hold on, man. Can we see what's going to happen with dismissal first? It all makes sense once you continue to go through this shit. Okay. Any party proponent of a claim, including a cross-claim, counterclaim, or third-party claim, that intends to offer expert testimony in respect to such claim must make the disclosures required by such and such law by no later than March 16, 2026. So that's almost a year or a little less than a year from now as well. Well, we'll see if anybody comes. I keep telling y'all 50-50 chance that in some way or another, Kendrick is going to be brought into this, whether he's subpoenaed, whether they want to depose him, whether they want to sue him. You never know, because think about it like this too. What if you get some wicked, wild shit in discovery that makes you feel like, oh, hell no. Right here, I'm clearly seeing in discovery that Kendrick did me crazy. Like, nah, we suing him too. You don't know. You don't know, people. Like, discovery is intense, and this is going to make things that much more dirty, and at the same time clarifying a lot of things. Discovery. All right. Any party opponent that intends to offer expert testimony in opposition to such claim must make the disclosures required by this code by no later than April 15, 2020. Buckle up, people. 2026. Buckle up. The interim deadlines in paragraph 6C through D may be extended by the written consent of, okay, that's cool. Any proposed order or stipulation regarding electronically stored information shall be filed within 30 days of the date of this order. Okay. By February 27, 2026, 2 weeks after the close of fact discovery, the party shall submit a post-fact discovery joint status letter as outlined in Section 8D of the court's individual rules and practices. Okay, sounds like another formality. Spot check, maybe. If applicable, by June 5th, 2026, 1 week after close of expert discovery, the party shall submit, that's the same thing, another formality based on big pieces and junctures in this discovery process, closing out based on the schedule that's set here. Unless otherwise ordered by the court, the joint pretrial order and additional submissions required by rule, yada, yada, yada. The court's individual rules and practices in civil cases shall be due 30 days from the close of this discovery, or if the positive motion has been filed within 30 days. Okay, this case checkbox to be tried to a jury. So this will be a jury trial if they go to trial. Okay, cool. Cool. Counsel for the parties have conferred, and their best estimate of the length of trial is 3 weeks. Okay. So both lawyers have discussed that and said, if we make it to trial, if we go to trial, if somebody either doesn't say, hey, man, let's stop this stupid shit, we realize from discovery that you guys didn't do anything, or you definitely didn't do anything that's going to win us in trial, and we're just here wasting time. Or if there's not a settlement that gets brought on the table, and we're going to get to that in a second, people, then you know, we estimate, or we agree that we should be able to get this done based on what we're probably going to bring to the table in 3 weeks. And that's definitely a guesstimate because they haven't done discovery yet. They don't know what they're going to see and what they're going to need to argue over in court. But that's a professional guesstimate, I guess. Whatever this next one is NA'd. This one right here is left blank. I'll leave it alone. Okay. So that's the breakdown. Okay. So let's not do the rumor mill anymore. Once again, being open-minded, some of that could have been leaked out from somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. But the paperwork says that. And that's what we're going by until further notice. Now let's talk about the settlement before I get into the effects that this would have if UMG settles with Drake for $250 million. Let's talk financial first, okay? Let's talk financial before we talk hip hop. Let's put some understanding around these such numbers. You hear $250 million and you say, sheesh. If UMG hands Drake $250 million, most of us, just from a surface level thinking of an amount of money, is going to say, you got a W, you got an L. Nobody in this world wants to come off of $250 million. The richest of the rich pay attention if they got to go in their pocket and get, that's not even rich, that's wealth. That's even maybe pass off. You got to go in your pocket and say, fuck, all right, here's $250 million. You are some king Dubai. I own oil. I own 40% of Manhattan, New York type of, I own Apple or Amazon. You're that level of type of person in the world, right? And even millionaires, which is like peanuts to the money that we're discussing right here. Even millionaires only make up 1.5% of the population of this world, okay? Just to have one funky, I'm saying that to make the point, one funky $1 million, just 1.5 million percent of the world's population. So looking at Universal, what are they worth? Universal is currently at an enterprise value of almost $50 billion. Okay. On a prior stream, when we were talking about why, if I'm Drake tactically, and if I'm going for $400 million bare minimum, because that's alleged to be what my last deal was with these guys, we're talking about UMG trying to devalue him. Isn't that in his lawsuit paperwork? UMG trying to devalue him so that we can then get a better going rate or negotiations from your last deal now that it's time to re-up. We gave you 400 million back then. This time you want 6, 7, 800 million. Nah, man, we're going to bring you back down to earth. We're going to muddy you up with Kendrick. We're going to promote this Not Like Us. We're going to take it to the Super Bowl and the Grammys and all that shit. And when you and I spin the block, we're going to pay you 200 million. That's allegedly what this is over, right? Allegedly. Hence the defamation to do all that and put that in place, okay? If that was the case, then it would justify why Drake would sue UMG instead of Kendrick. We broke that down on a stream because we pulled up Kendrick Lamar is worth $150 million. That's almost a blood from the stone type of scenario. If my last deal was 400 million, I can't even get half of my last deal from Kendrick. And he don't even have that 150 million that he's worth in liquid. So this is pure math, people. Okay. This is math and common sense. Now back to UMG and Drake. UMG being worth almost $50 billion. Let's hold on to that number. Let's see what they make per year. All right. Because I want to know is like, did you get that money 10 years ago and you're holding on to it? Let's see what you just averaged per year. In 2024, UMG generated 11.8, let's just say $12 billion, approximately 12.8, it's saying, in revenue, with about 6.5% year over year increase, or 7.6% in constant currency. So they're going up 6.5% in year over year increase. UMG is not bottoming out or leveling off or just sustaining. We just keep making this same 35 billion, or I'm sorry, or 12 billion per year. No, last year we made 10 billion. This year we make 12. Next year we projected to make 15 billion. And they overall are worth 50 billion right now. Okay? That is very significant. That is serious. Why do I think that that's also serious from a financial standpoint before we talk about hip hop? Why? Because if you pull out a calculator and you say, what percentage of 50 billion is 50 million? Calculator says that 250 million is only 0.5% of 50 billion. That's what my calculator told me. All right. Is my math off here? That's what my calculator told me. If I can spend 0.5% of what I'm worth to say goodbye, have a nice day. Financially now, the conversation gets a little bit different. Financially, it's not about right and wrong then. Keep your eyes on this as this case continues. Because it won't necessarily have to be about right and wrong. 0.5%. This is the Boosies of the world say, hey, man, I want to be able to just give a little $5,000 and fly her in and say, get the fuck away from me. Because to me, I make $50,000 a night doing fucking shows or walkthroughs or whatever. So a little $5,000 here, take a little purse. We're talking about mathematical equations and like if Drake wanted half of UMG's money on some divorce settlement type shit, it's a different conversation, right? Like 250 million, I make 12 billion a year. People pay attention. I can make 12 billion next year. You want 250 to go away? If that rumor was true, which the paperwork says that it's not, but if that rumor is true, I might think about that. If it's my money, I'm being honest. Because I'm saying the word little in the context of these numbers. I really believe $250 million is a lot of money. But in the context of this situation, black and white mathematical numbers, you could never lie over numbers. That 250 million, UMG could literally say, here, take your purse and get the fuck on. Because this year alone, within this, divide 12 million by 12 months. Like, how fast does it take UMG to make the money that they would give Drake if that was $250 million settlement? This is just math. Now, I'm not even in conspiracy theory mode, people. This ain't theory. This is me taking the paperwork. This is me taking the rumor. And this is me pulling out a calculator. All right. I'll leave that there. You didn't hear that take nowhere on the internet. Let's get into so what? Who cares if you didn't hear that take on the internet? I don't want to be one of those type of podcasters. You heard it here first. Shut up. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. Get mad at myself for saying that corny, lame ass shit. I checks and balance myself sometimes. Fuck it. It's rare breed shit. Damn, my references again. Let me stop because I spawn. The Matrix. That's another reference. There it is, right? On my camera's reverse. There. No, over there. There you go. Right? No, this way. Wait. That way. Yeah, that way. On camera, you're reversed. So your physical is anyway. I just neoed out for y'all real quick. Damn, that's another reference. Stop, Adam. Stop. Oh shit. I'm just having fun. It's a good morning for me. I'm looking forward to today because the first part of my week was so intense. The amount of work and schedule that was on me for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and what's today? Thursday? Today's Thursday, right? And yesterday, I wasn't even supposed to get these podcasts done. One of the days, didn't I have to start at like 5:30 early and shit? I'm telling you. And now that it's all done, I just feel so good today. You know what I'm saying? All right. Y'all laughing at me? Y'all laughing at me? Because I neoed out real quick. And I'm giving y'all all these double and triple entendres. I was meant to be a league owner. That's why people say, yo, do you rap? I'm like, fuck no. I think I'm going to put this shit together, but I ain't going to try to rap. I'll just wait till my podcast starts and I'll start giving y'all bars. I'm really gonna have to timestamp this little fucking segment that I'm in right now. Let's get back to work. The effect of this shit on hip hop. Okay, so we break all that down. Paperwork, facts, numbers, stuff that can't be disputed. If UMG was to give Drake that $250 million purse, I can't stop, man. Once I started, I can't stop. If UMG was to give Drake that it changes the fucking perspective now. When you do the numbers, 0.5%, it makes it feel like Drake is asking these niggas for a fucking pair of heels and a purse, man. It's crazy. If my mind is fucked up thinking about it now, I can't continue. All right, let me get myself composed. If UMG was to give Drake his $250 million purse, it's still not good for hip hop, right? We got to stand on that, people. Let's get serious. We got to stand on that because it's not about people going through the formalities. It's not about people pulling out their calculators. It's not about people saying it actually makes sense for UMG to sacrifice what they would make in a month and a half versus going to trial and potentially being exposed to 10 times that, right? So there are settlements that where that happens. Don't think that just because you settle that you were wrong. Okay? I believe that there are certain situations where you have to stand on something because the fallout that can go forward is dangerous. It's like telling the bully that you can get something from me over something that I believe is frivolous. Then that type of settlement scenario, I think, is dangerous, right? Sometimes you just have to take a stand and say, however this is going to go, I'm going to say no. Just get in the ring and fight me then. I'm not settling. I'm not, because there's just the circumstances I just can't do it, right? Those are the people that say, nah, no matter how much money you offer me, I'm never going to do this. They stand on certain shit because it's more important from a going forward standpoint, as well as them as an individual or as a company or as a reputation. Your reputation is tied to making $12 billion a year, right? These other artists might see this and say, oh, really? They're not going to do the calculator shit that ARP did. They're not going to care. They're going to say somebody accused you of playing with them and you gave them $250 million. So you want to know what? I'm here too, right? It's another parallel, or here's a reference for you. What do we say opened up the floodgates for Diddy when he initially settled with Cassie? Floodgates opened. That settlement in 4.5 minutes that he did with Cassie made everybody go, what? Okay, bet. Now it's on. Legally, civilly, everybody. A lawsuit a day comes out on Diddy now. Okay? So UMG has the money and the power still to deter other people from playing with them, but that can't also factor into also thinking about their reputation. Like, we are a powerhouse. What if that growing percentage starts to turn around because our reputation, or people feeling like we did Drake dirty? Or it's not just about this situation with Drake. What happens after that? You don't become a multi-billion-dollar company unless you do something called forecasting. We are really in mode right now, people. You don't get to that. You don't get to that. If I'm UMG, if I'm on that if I'm one of the chairmen, if I'm the CEO, if I'm on that panel, right? If I own heavy stock in UMG, if I have decision-making power in UMG, it's my job and my duty to think about every decision we make. This artist, this lawsuit, that lawsuit, this change, this deal we sign, how much money we pay Spotify, all this. It's not about right now. And fuck being a billionaire. This needs to happen with us. You don't think just for right now. All right, here's this money on the table. We're gonna offer you $1,000 to sabotage this card, this Rare Breed Entertainment event, or to duck out of his main event. And the fucking battle rappers that thought right there in that moment were pussy and broke and bad business and clowns. And I can continue. That's what they were. They couldn't think ahead to say morally, reputation wise, principle wise, bridge wise. How many times has it been narratives in battle rap about don't burn your bridge? Because longevity wise, all I'm going to do is continue to watch time pass. As time passes, we're going to see news updates like, oh, Young Buck, this just happened, this, or this rapper that's broke now, this or whatever. People look at me and they don't see that. They be like, what's ARP's forecast? You know, if Hitman went broke tomorrow, if Hitman went broke 5 years from now, you know who he could come to and get a bag from? Me. And vice versa. Ill Will, Big K, same thing. It don't have to be he's a league owner. I got a top tier battle rapper that was going through something a couple weeks ago. You know who he's able to call? I didn't book no battle over it. Me, he was able to call. And I proudly step in for people like that because I would expect the same from them. This ain't no give me no brownie points moment. This is just real shit. Damn, we went from joking to serious in a fucking split second. That's how I get frustrated. Real shit. Real shit. So the impact of UMG's reputation and their forecasting of what is to come for them over the next course of 5-10 years as they continue to pass down this generational fucking company that makes $12 billion a year, this could be a turning point for them. It's not just Drake. Bigger than Nino Brown, people. So for them and for the perception of hip hop, what can happen and spawn from a rap battle? I don't want to see QB get on stage versus Shuni or O-Red get on stage versus Shuni. And this is no disrespect to Shuni. I'm just using this as a reference because I mentioned it the other day when I thought about defamation-based lyrics as it aligns to like the Blueface and Soulja Boy shit, right? He said, fuck my baby mom, 130 million default judgment, right? And I said, let's take that into battles that happened on RBE. What if O-Red said, yo, you sucked off this nigga in the parking lot and in the battle versus Shuni, or QB battles Shuni and says, you fucked enough niggas to start a card or run an event. And Shuni says, that ain't true. Defamation lawsuit. Up there, that's actually a possibility with battle rap and the blowback in hip hop from bullshit like this. Now, I know there's a lot of money at play here. So a lot of people would say, how could you call it bullshit? I just feel like the reason that we got here is based on bullshit. Do you have justifications to go after certain values of money based on deals and negotiations and relationships that between UMG and Drake? Maybe, maybe not. I'll be open-minded there. But how we got here from a rap battle, fuck that. Fuck that. So UMG got to be careful, and they're thinking about shit like this. You don't become a billionaire if you don't think about shit like this. Right now, it's a $12 million purse. Tomorrow, it's a $10 billion consistent drop or issue or fades I got to run now because we just settled with Cassie. I just loop in a bunch of fucking references to make the point. And somebody tell me either if I'm crazy or if I'm making sense. One or the other. All right, let's move on. Bad news. He had an interview. I promised y'all the main topics is what I'm always going to try to lay on the most. Everything after that will kind of be like, you know, add-ons. At least that's the formula for now. Until I get to a point where I can do 6-hour-long streams. And that's just not my life right now. If y'all retire me via my podcast and y'all take my viewership through the roof, I'll sit here for 6 hours a day like academics, but I got to leave this podcast and get in the streets, get my bills paid. All right. Bad news. We know what happened already in battle rap. You know, the paperwork that came out. You stand how you stand about it, whether you're a battle rapper, whether you're a league owner, whether you're bad news, whether you're an associate of him, whether you're a friend of him. I'm not here to get into that, right? I'm here to talk about the after effect for this particular stream, something that I highly, highly disagree with. And if y'all share this and add Bad News to this video and this link when it's up, I would say this directly to Bad News. I would say it in private. I would say it in public. I would say it in text message. I would say it on phone. I would say it face to face. I would say, homie, whatever your decisions are as far as you continuing to battle, whether that paperwork is 1000%, hey man, you did what you did, it is what it is, or the explanations that you gave in your last interview is that nah, it's not true, whatever. Whatever it is, I don't got no fucking horse in a race. But the continuing to battle rap and, for lack of better words, threaten anybody that raps about it is so wrong. That's not battle rap. And I don't like that position, because I feel like the same way you can blame somebody for doing something, like Bad News' own words when he says, for every action, there's a reaction. You have to take accountability for that as well, because you are also having an action of continuing to battle rap. And nobody's trying to force him. I'm not here to try to force Bad News to decide like leave or stay. That's his business, his decision. But to say I'm going to continue to battle, I'm going to have this type of energy around me. When I walk into the building, I'm going to feel a different vibe. That is a fact. Some fans are going to look at me and say, oh, there he is. I wonder. And they're going to always look for these angles. Oh, is somebody going to say it? Is the opponent going to do it? Am I going to address it more? Is this? And then new things will happen. This battle rapper will say this. This battle rapper will do that. This opponent will. This opponent won't. You'll get mentioned in other battles. Other bloggers will mention you still. You will remain a topic with that tag to your name as a discussion point for the rest of your battle rap career. So knowing this, and if you didn't know it, it's being said right now. Like, you're supposed to know this. It's your life. Knowing this and saying, I'm still walking into that arena to perform, to allow people to rap to me, to sign contracts, and to also pick up these bags, you should be following the same rules that everybody else got to follow, right? If I book Bad News and what my template general contract says is no physicality is allowed, right? Especially that interferes with the battle completing, right? You are in the wrong. If you sign that, then you can't stand on what you said in that interview, unless you want to mesh saying that fuck the business, fuck the contract. I'm still going to premeditate violence based on what you say to me verbally. There's no way to make the other person wrong. You can't make the other person wrong by saying, I warned you about rapping about that. The only way that you can get around that, being that it's premeditated, is if you have that stipulated between both artists, agreed between both artists, and the league should be involved as well. I have a piece in my battle rap contract that says off limits content. If you go watch QB versus Bonnie Godiva, QB has somebody in her family that she never wants to be brought up. It's a very personal situation to her, and I respect it. So as a league, what she does every time she books with me, she says, I want this in the contract. I don't want this to ever be mentioned. This for me is not battle rap. I can't perform with this. This to me is not art. And then I say, I got you. And I take that, I put it in the contract. Well, before I put it in the contract, I take that and I go to the opponent and I say, this is QB's position about this topic right here, this person in her family. She doesn't do it. She's not willing to bring it to the stage. Do you agree with that? Every time I've brought that to a QB opponent, they agreed. They said, no, it's no problem. I'm not going. I don't want to do that anyway. Everybody has agreed. Once they agree, it's in the contract. That contract goes to both people, and they both sign it and agree to it. If you watch QB versus Bonnie teased it. Even though it was in her contract, she teased it. And QB looked right at me and said, yo. And then we're both there like, is she going to still do it? And we spoke about this and signed it. And then Bonnie veered off. She kind of like it was like a flinch. You know what I'm saying? So that's what Bad News needs to do. It's happened before him and it will happen after him. Bad News. I don't care if you're Bad News, Hitman, Cassidy, Murder Mook, Loaded Lux. You don't get to change that. based on bringing street shit into business and artistry. That's just foul. I'm speaking from a league owner standpoint, and it just don't feel right at all to have that position. People are getting up there and they're displaying artistry, and the name of the game is who could violate each other the most. I stood there and thought he was about to expose KD on camera for some domestic shit. And he bluffed it and turned it into a haymaker. But if he would have played that audio, we all sat there and waited for him to do it on camera, on live pay-per-view. Why? Because it's within your right to do it as a battle rapper and an artist. Why do we now get to change that now that there's this talk on Bad News? That's you have an option. You have two options. You can have this agreement with the artist, and if you have that, it should be moved into the contract by the league. That is the best option if you just don't want somebody. That's why I brought up the QB shit and then gave an example of when it almost happened in the Bonnie battle. Go watch it, right? Your second option is you go ID Boom and you say, I don't need this shit. I'm out of here. When I feel like people continue to put themselves in a place where they feel like it's not catering to them as it should be, you expose your hand, showing like, oh, you have to get that bag, huh? And I'm not saying Bad News specifically, but that's the way it be looking. Like, do you really have to battle rap under that context? Do you really have to bat like Adi Boom, for example? That's the smartest thing that Adi Boom ever did. Want to know why? Because he may have saved his own life. He may have saved his own freedom. I say all the time, this shit go both ways. I don't care who you think is the toughest or the softest. The softest nigga in the room will shoot you dead in your fucking face. Whether it was out of fear, whether it was out of the moment, whether he just had enough, the softest nigga in the room will shoot you dead in the fucking face. That's how I move. I don't put nothing past nobody. So Adi Boom, that was one of the smartest decisions he made in his life, because it doesn't have to be people playing with me and they want to apply retribution to me. So when I walk into this event, somebody might punch me in the back of my head. That's a family member of this person that's still in jail, telling people via fucking JPay, yo, that's what he did. He got down on me. It doesn't have to be that. It can happen the other way too. Adi Boom could walk on that stage, somebody in the front row trolling, hype during the event, over fanned out, snitch, and Adi Boom could jump his ass in that fucking crowd, beat the shit out of that fan, and catch charges behind it, and lose his freedom behind it. So this shit to me runs deeper than just a threat, or like, I'm telling you, every action got a reaction. Niggas do this. I'm telling you right now, we fucking up the money. So you're jeopardizing your freedom. Bad News said on camera, you got kids. If you not having these thoughts, I promise you, this is not going at you. This is opening up your mind to think about what's more important in the bigger picture, not just for battle rap, but also for yourself and your family. Because Bad News, you can get in there and end up hurting somebody. What if A Ward raps it and you stand on your fucking words and steal on this nigga and put him to sleep, and he hits his fucking head on the edge of the stage and rolls off and fucking ends up in a coma? Then you did that shit behind what? A nigga rapping. No, you and A Ward need to be in touch then. Or the league needs to pick up some of that responsibility. The league, imagine a nigga get his shit split, a Christian rapper, get his shit split. Or Bad News got friends with him that's on go, because my friend is already on camera saying, if somebody say this, you fucking up the money. So now my friend is on go. We always know the entourage is the fastest to move. What if the entourage does something in that fucking building? The league is there just conducting regular business. They let the entourage in. They let the entourage on stage. They're aware of this shit. They praying for the best. It don't go left. A Ward says something. The entourage pops, or A Ward pops. The league gets sued too. Maybe. It's a domino effect. I ain't playing with Bad News' money, but Bad News says that shit on that camera. You know what I do as a league owner? No, it ain't going that way. It ain't going that way. I'm having my contract like this because you're not getting me in trouble behind doing business and doing battle rap. No. you really want to pop on A-Ward if he raps it? Battle off. Nobody get bread from this shit. Not me, not him, not you. That's the league's responsibility. What's the league that's hosting this battle? That's your responsibility. A-Ward, that's your responsibility. Bad Newz, that's your responsibility. To avoid violence. Or have the agreement up front. Like A-Ward literally had to fucking tweet this. This is insane. So you can't have this level of premeditated shit walking into business. Bad Newz, you're going to get yourself in trouble one way or another. You can't do this, homie. Yeah, if that's the case, this is A-Ward's response to seeing Bad Newz' interview. Yeah, if that's the case, I'll just send the money back and reschedule. Because I don't plan on being told what to say. And now you've made it to where if your opponent don't bring it up, we look soft, like we're scared of what you'll do at Bad Newz. With all due respect, my creativity won't be hindered, and you know that in bringing it up, I would be unique and not malicious. He don't even have to say that line right there, but he's a nice guy, and he is. Shout to him for that. So y'all let me know if you still want to lock in. A-Ward, beautiful tweet. Don't walk into a problem. It's not about who's tough, who's right, or who's wrong. Don't walk into a problem. A-Ward, love you for this fucking tweet, A-Ward. Love him for this fucking tweet. Do y'all want y'all money back then? Drake, we not doing I can't rap this shit. No, I'm an artist. Some shit hit. Everybody said, yo, Av, Bad Newz just gave you the win. Look at this news that came out, right or wrong, because this is battle rap. Some shit comes out on you, whether it's right or wrong, true or not, or whatever, a narrative, a battle is going to paint a picture around it and deliver it. They're going to take their phone, put it on camera, Arsenal style, and try to show you BM. They're going to go math hop and bring paperwork up on stage versus Hollow. They're going to disrespect. They're going to wow. They're going to put our allegations on you if that's what you did. Domestic disputes if that's what you did. Hitman, you mistreat Cinnamon. This person over here, you beat on your kid. You over there, you broke and you got beat up and you did this or whatever. This is battle rap. You just don't sign up for it. Like the shit that I signed up for, I retired from because I said, nah, I'm cool. If I want to stay there in it, I got to deal with this shit that I'm saying I got a problem with. Make up your mind. This is a beautiful fucking tweet. And the league has a responsibility now. The league has just been put on notice. The league has just been put on notice by this. Nobody at this point is supposed to walk in there unknowing. Bad Newz, this is wrong. You can't do this, homie. You need to have the agreement between you and the artist. In this particular case, A-Ward seems to be in disagreement of what he wants to rap about. So in the A-Ward case, and whoever booked this battle, A-Ward says, no, thank you. I don't want to do it like that. This battle should either be we change that and do have a second conversation to agree on that. If A-Ward says, I disagree still, then the battle is off. And you have to find an opponent that won't do that. I also do agree, even though this is the lesser important, that the battle is that refrain from saying a single word about the elephant in the room doesn't make them pussy, but that's going to be the fan perception. And they got to worry about their reputations the same way you do. Fair is fair. It just is what it is, man. And this has nothing to do with that paperwork that came out and what I feel right, wrong, true, false. It has nothing to do. I'm talking about battling going forward. And you're wrong, homie. And people got to say it. You're wrong. We need to protect the correctness of battle rap, whether you are Drake or Bad Newz. You're wrong, homie. With all due respect, you're wrong here. Fuck these other topics. I had the Zion shit. This girl looks like a crystal meth version of Rihanna. no I take that back. I'm frustrated. I normally don't disrespect people like that. I'm frustrated, y'all. Yeah, I got a bunch of other shit. This is one I'm still gonna do, and then we're gonna get the fuck up out of here. The easiest going one. This will really bring me back down and get me back in my regular Thursday mode. This is beautiful. I need to find a very, very strong contrast to the last topic to my exit. LeBron James becomes the first male pro athlete to get his own Ken doll. This is what it looks like. We Are Family, or this is, I guess, the prototype at least. I don't think they're out yet, right? If LeBron's holding it for the first time, then it's probably not out yet. This guy loves LeBron sneakers on that look dope. They look like the Jordan 1s. Be careful. Real talk. These sneakers look like the Jordan 1s, Bron. You might want them to change that. But this is dope to me because I just love seeing the progression of people. The barriers continuing to be broken. Why does this continue to matter to me past LeBron, first athlete, and obviously not just as a black athlete and such a universal household name, and he's a role model, right? But the history of toys and collectibles were modeled in a certain direction forever. You know, it was groundbreaking. Even I remember these times. I'm an 80s baby. It was groundbreaking even when Barbie and all that had their first black doll. Why? Because the poster of this stuff was in a different direction. We know the times that we came out of and that we're still among us in certain people and in certain respects. We know that. Play naive if you want. If so, then this channel probably isn't for you. Right? So this is beautiful. And if I'm in Target and I see one of these on a shelf, I might even get on Amazon and just order one. Now that I think about it, I'm going to pick one of these up and I'm going to throw it in my storage room in the basement and let it sit there and collect dust as a collectible. That's right. That's what I'm going to do. And I suggest y'all do the same. You see stuff like this come around, think about historically why this is something that's just like, oh wow, this is a moment. It's very easy to look at this and be like, oh, it got a doll. Oh, good job. No, it's bigger than that if you peer into it because of the history of this line. And this is why the LeBrons of the world, we need to do our best to protect those people. Not unless if he deserves otherwise, then we're going to treat him just like anybody else, right? If there's some wild shit comes up like, oh shit, LeBron done awed somebody, we're going to treat him accordingly, right? But if that doesn't happen, protect these role models, right? These are public world figures that these little kids could look up to and say, I aspire to be the next that. We thought that Jordan was we thought that Magic or Julius Erving or Bill Russell, we thought that they were going to be last time we see that. And then Jordan comes, or the Magic and Bird come, and then Jordan comes. These lifetime athletes after Jordan, oh, that's it, we're done. And Kobe, like, oh, wait, hold on a minute. After LeBron continues to mature, it's LeBron, he's got an argument for being the best athlete of all time. A physical is fucking what he's 59 years old now, playing at MVP level damn near. It's deeper than toys and it's deeper than rap. Like, I hope that we can sometimes look at this stuff and take pride in these type of things. And if you don't have these type of thoughts, I shall invoke them. Go get you a LeBron doll. We don't need to be streaming like, oh, we heard that in Toronto, he's got the tings with Drake. Clowns. If he deserves it, we'll do it. Other than that, protect our role models, people. Yeah, maybe I need to put it at least in a plastic bag or something, right? I need to treat it a little bit better. Hey, Misha, it's been said behind your back within the checks and balances chat that you're wanted in there. People think you've been a very, very cool member on the channel, and some people in the chat brought you up. I don't know. Y'all should DM me. We figure it out, man. I'm about to close it out, like I said, 1 or 2 other people, and then let it sit there for a while because we are going crazy in there. Hope you guys appreciate today's stream. Getting into the weeds and doing the, like, after we do the conspiracy or the theory of the Drake thing, and then getting into the paperwork, and then from the paperwork getting into the actual numbers, I think that's those type of takes are just like, and the bad news thing, man. Shout out to Newz, man. I hope he could watch that with a very open-minded understanding of what I was trying to do right there. I hope he can. I hope everybody can. Right. Save battle rap. I shouldn't even say save battle rap. At this point, I just gotta say maintain battle rap, because even in my interview from last night with Daylyt, there's a lot of opinions going around. Like, hey, a couple battles happen. Hitman and Mook happens. Daylyt and Lux happens. Maybe Cassidy or Rex happens. Maybe Surf's return battle. Maybe Surf versus Mook. Surf versus Easy. Maybe. There's about maybe a Hollow versus Mook. There's a couple battles. If they happen, it's like we're gonna lose the interest, because it's gonna be like, yo, the end game. Like, we haven't replaced those stars. Go check out last night's interview with Daylyt. It's in the description of this video right here. We talked about battle rap, the state of battle rap a little bit. And, it's before we could talk about the Titanic turning around and going back uphill again. We got to at least maintain the shit. We got to at least maintain it. And we're drifting. We're drifting. So we'll continue to drift. But all right, y'all. Happy Thursday. I appreciate y'all as always. Unless there's something crazy that happens, I definitely will not be able to get back this afternoon. But we'll be here 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. All right, y'all.
Don't confuse silence with work ethic. I'm a boss, making decisions my first fetish. The verse cherished is perfect, that's a reverse blemish. I dropped it, connected the block, learn Tetris.
This is the Sorry True Podcast. Welcome to the house of. And shout out to the members.
Without, I think still got a cut.